Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and note smasher video today, starting with Joseph Parker, Joyce, a fight seemingly edging closer to getting made. Been talks about this for a little while. Both these guys, as you can see here on screen, are number 1 and number 2 in the WBO rankings respectively. And the reason I think it's starting to get a little bit closer is there's been some coverage that's landed in New Zealand. And typically in years gone by, that has then followed with more coverage as the fight is getting close to getting announced. And Joseph Parker also, with this story, he put it on his Instagram story. So to me, that suggested there must be a little bit of movement, something must be happening. And one of the guys, typically this guy here, this Patrick McKendry, he used to be with a different news outlet, the New Zealand Herald, now with Television New Zealand, digital sports reporter. He's had a number of Joseph Parker stories in the past. So to me, this suggests that there must be some movement and maybe we're getting closer to something. But of the story itself, so it lays out bits and pieces. It actually says he's ranked number 3, Parker number 2, but WBO rankings, they have Joyce number 1, Parker number 2. So if this fight was to get made, no doubt it would be for the WBO mandatory shot at the title. And I just want to clear up some confusion. Contrary to some comments that were made in 2021, no doubt for promotional purposes by the likes of Frank Warren, Joyce's former manager Sam Jones, Joyce is not the mandatory challenger. There is a difference between being the number 1 rated contender, which Joyce currently is, and the mandatory challenger, which has to be announced by the sanctioning body. That has not occurred. So let's be clear about that. There is no mandatory for the WBO. Last mandatory challenger was Alexander Usyk, and we know what happened there. So even if this fight was to occur, probably, given the way things are shaping up, maybe at least a year away from a title shot. But obviously, these two, big fight if it was to be made, and credit to both guys if it does happen. And it's a very intriguing fight, which we will talk about if and when it gets made. I guess that's a big if with boxing, but seemingly there are a few more breadcrumbs towards something happening. And I have seen a number of people sort of say things are getting close, a bit of online chatter and such, so maybe things will actually go the way boxing fans want to. Let's face it, right now on the heavyweight boxing schedule, it's pretty light, but Parker's saying you can't just say this is the offer, accept it. You have to negotiate until both guys are happy. I'm keen to get the deal done because I'm in shape. I've been training like a maniac. Let's go to Frank now and tell him to get his checkbook out and lock something in. But someone who's actually been in the gym where Parker's been working out, Tyson Fury's gym, giving Tyson Fury some work, is the British prospect David Adeleye. So Adeleye had posted, obviously, that photo there with him and Tyson Fury. Fury preparing for an upcoming fight in about a month's time with Dillian Whyte. That's really creeping around fast. And obviously a clip here, Adeleye, and you can see Joseph Parker in the background. Parker does look in good condition. In years gone by, he had obviously sort of let himself go between fights, often stacking on huge amounts of weight and then having to lose it in training camp. So good to see Parker in shape, and Adeleye, this will be good rounds, good experience. He's worked with Fury before in different training camps, and given how raw he looked against Kamil Sokolowski a couple of fights ago, he does need the seasoning, and these are good rounds for it. Just on to a couple of other prospect issues. So Frazer Clarke, who had announced he was being pulled off a card, a Sky and Boxer card later this month, he has posted his recovery. So the injury a little bit worse than maybe he was letting on. So you can see here he's had some surgery, and another post which we'll get to in a moment, it said it was a hand injury. So Frazer Clarke says, just my luck. Time to heal up whilst getting strong like a bull. With the help of my team and everyone at Elborough Sport, I'll be back in no time. Big phrase. And his management company, 258 Management, so he's assigned to Anthony Joshua's management company, it's got a few more details. It says, unfortunately, big phrase, has to withdraw from his upcoming bout on March 26th due to a hand injury sustained while sparring in training camp. He has successfully undergone surgery and will go through the necessary rehab supported by Elbow Sport, and we're gutted for him, but he will be back for a big summer. Speedy recovery, Frazer. And hand injuries must be the order of the day at the moment. Maybe it's a punch technique thing, I'm not sure. But Tommy Welch, the son of Scott Welch, who's currently fighting on Frank Warren cards. So this is a little while ago. He had his surgery, also a hand injury. This was a post from a day ago where he said, 7th week today, and I'm raring to go. Time waits for no one. Life throws obstacles at you. Every time it tests us, we've got to prove we're strong MFs. This life ain't for the weak. We might fall down, but we never stay down. Let's go. And just getting to that injury, so his hand operated here at 7 weeks ago, or he had that surgery, and this is him throwing some shots at the bag here. So seemingly he looks pretty recovered, I guess we'll say. So we'll probably see him on a show in the next few months. Well, for his sake, he'll want to stay active and get back to it. Andy Ruiz Jr. So 2 days in a row, social media activity from Andy Ruiz, who had been dormant for a number of months. And he posted something which has sort of got me thinking, and obviously a lot of other people have weighed in here, and with some mirth too sort of ensuing. But Ruiz says, I've got the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. Just saying. And apart from, you know, you can see this one. Yep, you can get a burger from the table to your mouth in 0.1 seconds flat, and a number of other different sort of tweets sort of in that vein, fastest to the buffet, etc. But in terms of that actual comment, I don't know if that's actually true anymore. I thought, and I'd be interested for your take on this, when he fought Chris Arreola, I didn't think Ruiz looked particularly fast. Sure, his hand speed is better than his foot speed. That's one thing. Andy Ruiz got quite slow feet, but his hand speed's always been really quick. But I thought he looked like he'd lost a bit of speed in that Arreola fight. I didn't think I was seeing some sort of lightning hand speed compared to earlier in his career. And you may recall for a few years there at least, sort of maybe around 2015 to 17, a lot of people used to talk about Andy Ruiz Jr., Joseph Parker, those two having the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. And I think Parker, his hand speed has diminished in recent years, and I think that's been through the wear and tear, the injuries that Parker's had to his elbows. I think both these guys have still got quick hand speed comparative to the rest of the division. But I'm not so sure that Ruiz and Parker have the fastest hands anymore. I'll be interested for your take on that one. And rounding out this heavyweight news and notes mashup video, so Kenzie Morrison, a little statement on social media regarding his upcoming fight against Hasim Rahman Jr. So this fight is being dubbed as the Sons of Legends, April 29th, and this is a Roy Jones Jr. promotions card. So of this upcoming fight, so Kenzie Morrison, so James McKenzie Morrison says, getting ready for 20-0, War TCB, April 29, the theatre in Virgin Hotel, Las Vegas. Hope to see all my family, friends, fans all across the USA supporting me. Fight will also be on Fight TV. And I had been wondering about what were going to be the broadcasting arrangements. So that sort of gap, I think, in the boxing market that YouTube and others like Fight TV have been able to fill in recent years, and even Facebook, has been great, because there was a time, and I was thinking about this when I saw, okay, that's on Fight, but it made me think of all these sort of fights where they're not huge, they're maybe slightly club level or above, but they don't necessarily have a natural home, the promoter's not with a big broadcaster. Sometimes you just never got to see the fights, or you had to watch something that was super grainy well after the fact. So liking that some of these fights, they're more accessible these days, because to me this is an interesting one. You've got Morrison, unbeaten, Hasim Rahman, both these guys have not fought any great shakes. There is the interest there with the their fathers obviously having been, or Rahman being a heavyweight champion, stopping Lennox Lewis. That was a huge shock, and Tommy Morrison having the WBO title, and Morrison obviously ending up being quite a sad story. But the Duke, his son Kenzie Morrison, Hasim Rahman Jr., April 29th. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.